Hello and welcome. Today's video is going to be about this little MQ5 module for the Arduino. The reason why I'm making this is for my stepdad. 2 years in a row now, 4 days into our camping trips roughly, I smell propane and my stepdad has to run around with a bottle of soap and water to check all his hoses, and I always kind of wondered why he didn't have like some kind of tester for it, because he's sort of obsessed with propane and propane accessories. So I decided to look on Amazon and Banggood and stuff for a detector, and they run about 30 bucks to 60 bucks. And personally, I think it's overkill because most of them just use a module like this anyways. And this guy here comes down to about 2 bucks or something. And I'll price everything out at the end, but it's like 10 bucks or 14 bucks to actually build it. Or on the cheap, you really just need these two things and a USB cable, which I'm just going to jump into the video now and start showing you. And like I said, at the end, I'll show all the prices and where to get everything from. Alright, so the first way I'm going to show this is the really on the cheap way. I'm going to try showing you guys no solder ways to do it. My end product for him will be all soldered up, but I'm going to show you guys how you can get away with it, say if you can't solder. And there is other options, like I said. I mean, you can add a display to it. You can add an MP3 module to it, so it can voice out stuff. You can add lights to it, but really that's all overkill to me, at least, because for him, he's just going to want it to beep. Like, I was actually going to do the LCD screen and stuff, and then I thought, why bother? Because at the end of it, he's not going to be looking at a little display to see what the numbers are. All he's going to care about is the hose leaking, and roughly where is it leaking, and beep when it's leaking. Right, so I'm going to show a really cheap, quick way to do it. There's a really dirty way. Just find a USB cable from the dollar store or something. You don't need it for data, you just need the positive and negative. So just cut it the length or whatever you want to cut it. I'm going to cut it about here, I guess. Not using wire strippers, apparently. I'm using scissors. Okay, that was a bad cut. That's okay. Try that one more time, but a little bit more careful. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I'm just gonna guess that the pink one here is gonna be your positive and the white one will most likely be your ground. You can test it with a multimeter first to make sure. Oh, that's really dirty wire or insulation. It's almost like ABS or something with that black smoke. There's no wire there. So soldering is probably preferred, because you'll get a really good connection, obviously. But like I said, I'm just going to show, look how thin that wire is in there. This might not be the best one to use, because that's actually pretty pathetic, that wire. Try it one more time just to see. Unless the wire's actually melting away because it's so thin. Okay. Well, for this test, we'll just try that. Okay. So on this module, you'll need a little speaker like this. I just salvaged most of my parts off old satellite stuff, but you can find the little guys here for like a couple of bucks. And then again, I'll show that at the end. So you take your positive one, and you put this guy on where it says A0. And the ground one, you're going to need a Y splitter for it after. I got a couple of ends like this that I'm going to need to attach to here. Usually wire strippers is better than a lighter. And then this guy will just cut here. So this way here is not that accurate with the sensor, but this will show you that you can actually hook it up really, really cheap, and only for a couple of bucks. So really you would want to solder that up, and most likely put your thing on first. Let's see if that'll fit in there. Okay, so I'm going to put my heat shrink first. Try that again. So this joint's not going to be the best. So you're just going to have to be careful. Tape it up maybe after you're done. Okay. Okay, the green one we actually need 2, but it'd be good to have let me see what I can do here. Alright, so I just found an end like this, and this will be able to plug into my ground after there. Whichever way you do it. I don't know if the heat shink's going to be big enough for it. Okay, there we go. I could have left a little bit more wire there. Okay, should be good enough. So you take your positive, make sure you test it with a multimeter, but usually if you have a red and white cable, it's usually a red and black, usually actually. It'll be your positive and your negative. So this guy gets hooked up to VCC. That's the first pin. And then this guy would get hooked up to your ground. And then this extra guy here would get hooked up to the ground for your speaker. So really that's all you need to get this module working. And then you're going to have a little guy here, a little variable resistor here, so you can tune it. But that's really only for the light. And that's the other thing I'm going to show, is you actually don't even really need this speaker, because the ones off eBay or the ones off Amazon for $60, all they do is show a light. And this guy already has a built-in light, so when it detects it at a certain whatever, how much is in the air or whatever, the light will come on. So then you need a battery pack as well. Guess I should have mentioned that. Something like this. And just plug this guy in. Right, so the light down here where it says D0, that's the one that's going to detect the propane. If I can find a good lighter here. So all you're going to do now is, see how that light came on? So that means it detects it, but the speaker might not come on till it detects a lot more. So if you hold your lighter like this now and you slowly move it, pretend you're moving down like hoses or whatever. And the bonus with this way too is the speaker actually gets louder the closer you get to the source of the leak. But if you just want to be on a super cheap, all you really need is a USB cable, and you don't even need the speaker, because like I said, the ones they sell for $60, all they do is they have a light. So if you can make this in a nice mount somehow and just watch for this light, that should be good enough. Like that. And if you want to set the sensitivity down, you can just move this guy here. If I can get this guy in there. I'm not sure if that's the right way. Let's see what happens if I move it the other way. There you go. So you can just leave it like that. Usually when you plug this in for the first time, you have to leave it alone for about 10 minutes. And just plug it in, just walk away. The coil, or I guess it would be the coil, has to heat up and get all the chemicals off of it or something. I'm not sure what it does, but it does take a while. So what you can do is just crank it. And then after about 10 minutes of it being on for the first time, you can start moving this guy slowly till it's off. So that sets the sensitivity. So now if I take my lighter, the light should come on a lot quicker. The speaker won't come on because that needs more voltage, but at least this light comes on really, really quickly. But to get it on, I'm holding it down now. That's how long it takes. Okay, so enough of that. So this is the cheapest way to do it if you want. So the other way is with an Arduino. I'll show at the end again with the links where to buy this stuff. You can also check eBay or wherever else as well. If you can't solder, I'm going to show that way because you can buy these with all the headers already soldered on so that you don't even need to solder. But I will show which ones you do need. And that would be, I'll just show a picture of it. So for my code at least, and here's the pinouts, D13, A0, A4, 5 volts, ground, and ground at the top as well. Alright, so I'm just going to solder this guy up to make it look like yours somewhat. Because usually the way the pins come, if you buy them with them already soldered, are with the pins on the bottom. I don't like that way. I'd prefer the pins to be on the top. And also your layout for your, like how I said you had to use A0, A4. You don't have to. It's extremely easy to change it in the code. And yeah, it might be better to have like A0 and A1 so they're next to each other. So this way you can just break off the pins you need if you're going to solder. But I'm going to solder all these pins up. I think I'm missing one here. That's a pain in the butt. Try that again. Okay, so just I'm going to fast forward this part. Alright, so I got all my pins soldered on, and again, yours will be on the other side, but it's fine like this. Okay, I'm going to disconnect this guy here. Okay, for your speaker, you're going to want to hook up the ground on your ground here. So you just have to flip it around and make sure it's on the ground one. And your positive from your speaker goes to 13, like that. This guy here, right? So some more jumper cables here. So your positive one, your VCC, is this guy here, and he gets plugged into the 5 volts on your Arduino. Right there, like that. Your ground goes to ground here on your Arduino. I'm not sure if you can see that. Okay, and then your D0, you don't need to use D0, but for my code, I don't know why, but I added it to the first time you add your module. That's the only time you actually need to use it. D0 is what triggers this light. It's on the same thing as the light, so whenever this light comes on, D0 will go low. Usually it's high. But again, you don't need it. Except I just add it. I'll show you why I add it. And it's basically just like a one-time use. And then the last one here on this guy here is A0. And then A0 goes into A0. Right there like that. So that's all you need for the connections for the Arduino. Alright, so now I'll just show you guys how to program it. I can also include it in a bat file or something, just in case one of you guys don't want to use Arduino. Just hit me up in the comments or whatever, and I can just send you a little easy package that you just have to click on something and it'll program it to the same as mine. But really learn the code because it's super easy, and this might actually get you into programming because it's easy. Alright, so I might include a package, I'm not sure, and if I do, the files included will be the drivers installed. So when you plug in your Arduino, or before you do, you can go into step 1 and just click on this guy and install the drivers for this, just in case it doesn't work. I'll also include a link for Arduino, because there's newer versions probably, and it's 91 megs, so it's quite big. And yeah, I'm not sure what else I'll include in this, but whatever. Alright, so we'll assume you have your Arduino all set up and you sort of know how to use it. Install your Arduino, whatever version you have, and load up one of my scripts. And this is this guy here. I'll just call it the simple one. So what you'll do is plug this guy in, and then just go to Tools, set your COM port to COM3, set your processor to 328, and just upload it with this guy here. Alright, let's see if I can get this to stay still. Okay, good enough. Right, so what this script does, it's very, very basic. It's all really basic. Even if you want to add voice to it or anything else, it's just a couple extra lines of code. So my init here for the beep pin is 13, digital 13. And then my analog pin is A0. And for this right now, we're not using A4. And then you're just going to want to get your serial going like that. And this is just really the important part here is the 370. So anything above 370, that's when your speaker will start to beep. And then you have to add some delays so it gives a different tone. And that's it. So we can go to Tools and go to Serial Monitor. And this is where you'll want to fine tune. See how it says 66 here or whatever? This is where you can fine tune this. So technically I can put this to 70. And anything above 70, it'll get triggered. But it's pretty sensitive. So 370 is okay. I think for my other one I use 150. But I'll just show you here what happens now. So if I take my butane here and just give it a little shot, it jumped up to the 300s, but not enough to trigger the speaker. And there you go. So another way of tuning it is just watch this light right here for the DO light. Is that the one? And then as soon as it shuts off, take note of the number where it says clean air. So about 160, that's where it shut off. So anything above 160 will trigger it with that light. So now I hold it. And that's that. So the other way of doing it, alright, so the other way of connecting it is using the D0 pin or DO pin or whatever. That's the one people say not to use, but technically you can. It's actively high when the light is not on the back, so it's always giving 5 volts. As soon as the light comes on, it goes low, so it goes to about, I don't know, 1 volt or less. It should be 0, but whatever. So change this guy here where it says A0 / pin, change this guy to 4 instead. And but it's not accurate to the point where it's going to show you. It's only going to be 2 static numbers basically now. And then here where it says 370, because it's always going to be above 370, it's always going to be like 5 volts, so that's like 1,000 or something. So you can change this to a less than. So anything less than 370, it's going to get triggered. So we'll program this. And now you can actually use the variable on the back of the module to tune it. You wouldn't really want to do this, but I guess if you want to be able to use the thing on the back, the variable on the back, I guess you could. So go to Serial Monitor. Oops, just leave it like that. And now, as soon as that light comes on, it should trigger in the hardware. So there's the light there. And now it's showing 33. So as soon as that light goes off, it should shut off. Again. So now you can actually fine tune it like this. So you can turn it all the way till the light comes on. Give it a second to see if it shuts off. If it doesn't, just back up a bit. Like that. And now it should be a little bit more sensitive. And if you want it not sensitive at all, you can turn it all the way to the other side. It's still sensitive, but it's not as. So right now it's on, it's not doing nothing. So now it's red against it and it's still not coming on. And that's how long it took to come on. So you probably wouldn't want to use it like that. It shuts off quick. That's for sure. So we'll go back here. There you go. So that's how you use the A0 and the D0 pin, or either or. Okay, I'm going to shut that off. Now the one I wrote for my stepdad is very basic as well. The only difference between mine and the other one, I'll just minimize this guy, is I added a burn-in. So this part here, it's going to use the A0 up here and the A4 pin, but A4 is only going to be used during the setup process. And that's it with this while right here. Once it gets below 388, you'll never hear this again. It's because when you first plug in a brand new module, it takes about 5 minutes for it to actually work properly. And I can kind of show an example of what I mean. And down here, I just added more beeps, so it beeps faster. The problem with doing it this way is if your delays are too high. So all this stuff here is just setting the delay for right here, these guys here. So if you set it too high, it takes, it's hard to explain, but it just takes too long. So say if I take my lighter and set it off, the delay will be so long that you could be way over here and it'll still be beeping, or it won't know it's away. So play around with these numbers if you want, or even make them less than that. The longer the delay, the more problems you might actually have with it. So I'll program this guy on. I'll go to my serial monitor. So now the way this guy works is like this. So if I go, the closer I go, the faster it should start beeping. Like that. Okay, and that's it. That's all to programming it. And then I'll show you the example of what I was talking about at the start of my code. Right here, where you'll never actually see this. But I can emulate it by just going like this. See how the light's on right now? Maybe you can't see that. See if I can get that. So the light's on down there. So if I reset it. So that's the sound it's going to run when you put a brand new module on it. It'll run like this for about 2 minutes maybe. And then once it's burnt in, it'll shut off the light and everything will go back to how it should. The normal code will start running. Alright, I think that's about it already for this video. That's how easy it is to actually hook this up. If you guys run into problems with it, just let me know. Alright, so the one I made for my stepdad is going to look like this. Got the light on. So I got the charging unit here for the battery. Added a switch on the side. The USB to charge the lithium. I'll also have a port on the back for the Arduino, which I might cover up because I don't want them probably plugging anything into that. And the way to get this guy here, this charging unit here for the lithium, I just grabbed it literally out of one of these guys. You can also just use the lithium battery out of here as well if you wanted to. It seems all of them are the same if they have the same layout. So if you have the micro and then the big guy up here, it's probably going to be the same hardware, the same board as I used there. And yeah, so the way this guy is going to look when it's done, after I glue everything together, this on there. Might have to pause it here so I can. There you go. And I also made a little cap for it too. So it looks like that. So he should be able just to turn it on the way he goes. Get this back on there properly. Alright, I got the thing back on. It's a little less sensitive with this cap on, so I'm not sure if I'm going to have it on or off. But anyways, the way he turns it on now is just this guy down like this. Turn off this light. Once it detects the D0 pin, this light should come on with any propane or butane or whatever you have. See? Like that. And there's also a light for the charging down there as well. So I was going to add volume to it, but then 2 little volume buttons, but then I figured he can just go like this. If it's too loud, you know, it's just an easy, quick little thing instead. So the closer it is to a leak, the faster it should beep, till you get that solid tone. So I still have to work on my cover here, because it is a little buggy. It might not have enough holes through it. So that's the way it should work. But you'll have to play around with the delays, because the delays can actually screw it up a lot. So, like right there, it's actually connecting. So it should have went to the fast beep right away. So if your first delay is too long, you might go right past it, like that. So you have to go really slow then. Or do a double pass. But anyways, any light coming on, you know you have a leak anyways. And that's that. So now if he wants to charge it, he can just plug it in on the side here with the micro USB. The light will be red, I believe, and then it'll turn blue once it's charged. So this guy here just plugs in like this. And then once it's fully charged, this light will turn blue. And then, yeah, it's a little ugly, but oh well. My other idea, just so I can babble on quickly here, was I was actually going to use this guy here because all the electronics actually fit in there perfectly. And this guy can actually go here like this. And it actually looks pretty cool. Not cool, but it looks pretty clean. If I would have got that right. Try that one more time quickly. Anyways, it would look like that instead, and then he would have the button. The problem is I broke the button on this. I ran out to the store, got another one, except they're made differently. It has different insides. And I went through all the trouble of wiring it all in, had the flashlight working and everything, and you can't use 3 AAAs. It kills the 3 AAAs probably in about 5 minutes. And well, I used the really cheap dollar store AAAs. Could be why. So I don't know. Plus the voltage is only 4 volts, and everything basically needs 5 volts in this scheme. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys part list where I got everything, and that's it. Sorry if this video went a little long. Just wanted to show what I was working on, and hopefully he likes it. So got some different colors coming in, but whatever. Okay, I'll show you the parts list. The pieces I got. And you can source them out other places like eBay and stuff. This is just showing you an easy place to get them all or whatever. So here's one here for $4.06. But if you scroll down, down, you can find the MQ5 here, 5 pieces. Where is the 3 pieces? Yeah, the 3 pieces here. If you divide that up or whatever, it only comes out to $2 and something. So it's cheaper just to get the 3. And also with just the 3 of them, it's super easy to actually get it to work. The next thing you would need is a Mega Nano. This is actually really overkill because you really only need 1 output, but whatever. Again, solder. The way I'll show you with on this site here is the things you need to get in case you just don't want to solder. So this guy here comes with the pins. Yeah, there's pins on this side here. And then if you get this with it already soldered, because you can actually get them usually cheaper with it not soldered, like this guy here, then you just solder up the pins you need. But anyways, then a buzzer. So you'd most likely have to get this one if you can't solder. But the funny thing here is it's $2.71 for one. And if you look right here, it's $2.17 for 5 of them. So learning how to solder is sometimes beneficial. The next thing you would need is jumpers. You need female to female. Let's see. Alright, for some reason I'm blind and I can't find female to female by themselves. So we'll just say get a pack like this or whatever for $4.55 Canadian pesos. And yeah, they come with the male to male. I think you get like 40 of each. And that's all you would need. The next thing you would need is this you can get elsewhere obviously. But this is what I'm using in my video, is actually this circuit board is actually the same one in here. And it seems most of these little charging things actually come with the same style. If you see, there's the USB on top and the micro USB below it. So that usually means it's the same style. Except this one. Or maybe this isn't the same one, because this doesn't take lithium. That's kind of weird. Or it does. Oh, you have to put the batteries in yourself. That's kind of cool, because if you get this one, the compartment here can actually be used for your hardware maybe. Then you wouldn't even have to print it. So that's actually pretty cool. I should actually order one of those just for the heck of it. Okay, and then you need a USB cable to program your Admega. And that's just micro USB? Or it's the other one, the weird fatter kind like that. And yeah, all right. In all, if you buy all this stuff here, I think it comes out to like $13 or $14. So you're really only saving half. But then if you start buying them in quantities, you obviously save a lot more money. And then you could place them at different places in your house or whatever. And again, this is just a project. All right, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Sorry it went a little long. And if you guys run into any problems, just hit me up in the comments and I'll help you guys out. All right.